If you're trying to convey a problem, for example, you're trying to tell your romantic interest or partner that there is something that they are doing that's making you feel unsafe, and you're even starting to shake, and you demonstrate this to them, and they put the foot down and they tell you that they're setting a boundary with you. They're drawing a line in the sand, and if you cross that boundary by opening your mouth and jabbing at them unintentionally, because you never meant to come across in that way to them, how do you actually respond to that person from this moment onward without setting them off like a firecracker even more and without hurting yourself even more? Hi, my name is Vitelovat. This has happened to me very recently by some professional coaches who I looked up to, and this is how I was treated, and I fell for this trap. So basically, this can also happen in a relationship setting. So if your partner says this to you, right? You've been invited to share something, say something, be open perhaps. And then the moment you say, maybe you might not react very well if I tell you, they actually do start accusing you of being manipulative, that you're trying to cross the boundaries, that you're trying to manipulate them. And I've been thinking about this for some time, like how would I have done things differently? Because I'm still kind of not over it with these coaches. Because I myself am someone who has a professional background, and their behavior is just so anal. The online space is just not the same as IRL. Instead of falling for the trap of telling this person what you want to tell them, which is that they are making you feel unsafe, your amygdala is being activated, that their threats are implicit. They might even gaslight you and say, no, we're not threatening you. That actually happened to me. And they might even try to get you to confirm that with them by asking you that. Do you agree that I'm not threatening you? And I had to say something like, there are explicit threats and there are implicit threats. And then with the implicit threats, these implicit things can be considered a form of violence in a sense. And implicit threats are usually constant nagging. I don't want to go into the detail of what that looks like, but it's just constant doubting and even a lot of yelling a lot of the time. If you try to ask questions or get an interaction, there's always a lot of yelling. So there's a strong implicit threat there that the person is going to react negatively. Thus, even my own initial surprise was like, hey, are you sure you want to hear what I have to say? Because you might not like it. And then instantly, this coach gets extremely defensive and starts accusing me of being defensive and justifying myself. So maybe I'm dragging on here a little bit, but we just need to say, I'm not in a position to continue this conversation. And that's it. I'm not in a position that enables me to share what I'm thinking. Heck, you could even say I'm not in a position to share what I'm saying because I feel unsafe, but that alone, in saying that, could set them off like a firecracker. But the idea is that we do have to pull away. We do have to pull back. We do have to remove ourselves from the situation. The moment you start feeling threatened and unsafe, you have to remove yourself from the situation. As tempting as it is to engage or fall for some type of invitation, we have to remove ourselves from the situation. And I know that we want justice, we want the truth, we want to set things right, we even have good intentions, we want to make things work, and the other party thinks your approach is incompatible, it's wrong. So if this lands with you, keep this in mind, because this is something I'm also telling myself. If I start to feel threatened, even by a professional these days, I'm going to let that person know. I'm just going to take a step back, and I'll have to continue this conversation a little bit later. I have an emergency coming up that I forgot about. Even just some little kind of lie like that, like a little white lie to emergency remove yourself out of the situation. Girls typically do this all the time when the date is going badly, So it's perfectly fine to tell little white lies if you're starting to feel unsafe, with someone. And they're gaslighting you, telling you that you're the one who's defensive and justifying, and not really even caring to actually help you get around that. And this is also very important to me because I want to make sure if I have clients, I want to make sure that I can make my clients feel safe and comfortable. Not in the sense where it inhibits the growth, where we're too comfortable and everyone's just kind of bumming around, but in the sense that if you have questions and if you have, some type of drama that you need to just vent about a little bit, it might not be particularly useful, but I can acknowledge that it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to accept that these emotions are rising and then start looking for some type of solution rather than completely crushing you and getting angry, thinking that just because I'm some big online creator that I can live the high life now and not be invested in helping my fellow customer. And another thing about this harshness, the people who treat us harshly, we unconsciously reflect that attitude in other people. So let's say you have children, or maybe you do have a partner who you've had sexual intimacy with, and you treat them horribly and you have no idea why you treat them horribly. And the reason we treat them horribly for no reason is because we ourselves looked up to people we valued a lot, and this is the way that we were treated. And I'm reflecting on this myself now because I have a female friend of mine who's borrowed a little bit of money from me. And I'm kind of on the fence about it a little bit because I've had some instances where people have borrowed money from me and they haven't paid it back. And I'm not really a judgmental person, I don't think. I would like to not be. And I'm like, okay, it's okay. They struggle to be able to make that back. But to continue to ask me for more money when you have been struggling to even pay back the first payment, I don't think I'd be helping either of us out. Now, this other friend of mine, she only borrowed about $30. And she promised that she would give it back to me on the weekend. It's been nearly 3 weeks since that promise. And I pointed this out to her. I'm not letting this slide necessarily. I don't even really care about the money, right? But I just pointed out, hey, you broke your promise a little bit. And you have no idea how incredibly tempting it was to treat her the same way my coaches treated me. Because the people who I looked up to as examples to navigate difficult situations, this is the way they treated me. And I'm just thinking, like, is this the way I want to treat a friend of mine? My friend, she might not even necessarily be in a perfect setting herself. And so it's like, we choose our friends, we surround ourselves with people who may or may not be good for us. But that's not the challenge that I'm facing. She can live her own life and does whatever she wants. It's just, if I was to react the same way that those coaches treated me, I would have felt like an absolute hypocrite. My conscience would be eating away at me. And sometimes I still wonder, is that the right approach? But instead, I continue to research my own solutions, derive what I think works, and try to look at the situation differently. That's the idea, change our perceptions in my old coaching program. And it's just like, I've come up with my own formulas. So anyway, yeah, hope that helps. If you would like to be self-restraint in your own emotional dilemmas, feel free to reach out to me and let me know if you struggle in this area a lot. For me, I had a strong anger problems in the past. I've overcome those fairly well. I would like to think. No one really sees that a lot. Some people have seen that. But if that's something that you struggle with, feel free to reach out to me because self-restraint is extremely attractive.